All right, welcome everyone. I am honored to introduce to you Jill Hart, also known as the Get Her Done Gal, who has started and run businesses for 40 years while raising her family. Jill is now helping people turn their passion into profit to create a 5-figure side gig around their family. On the surface, starting a part-time business might seem simple, but there are many hidden pitfalls that can make the process frustrating and time-consuming. That's where Jill comes in. With her wealth of experience and resources, she provides a community and support system that can help you avoid those pitfalls and level out the learning curve. So if you're looking to turn your passion into a profitable side hustle, you're in for a treat during this workshop. Jill will help you get focused and find the time to start your own business. With her heart and experience invested in your success, you're sure to come away with invaluable insights and strategies. So let's all unmute and give a warm welcome to Jill Hart.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate you being here. And thanks, Jenny, for the lovely introduction. I really appreciate that. You're so kind-hearted and generous. So let's get this rolling with raise your hand if you want to start your own 5-figure side gig and still have time for your family. Good. And raise your hand if you wouldn't mind making a few extra $1,000 a month while you're still available for that family. Okay, well, that's awesome. Welcome to the Turn Your Passion into Profit Strategies workshop. So I know you guys have all been chatting about where you're from, and it's nice to see you from all over the world here with Maria from London. You want to put in the chat what it is that you're doing right now? And we'll just kind of get to know each other for a second. Helping people with money, building hypnosis practice. That sounds really awesome. Olga is also helping people with burnout and weight management. Lorraine's working on her YouTube channel, which is pretty cool, teaching coaches and entrepreneurs how to grow their audience and get featured in media. VA and image consultant, wellness advocate, and certified animal aromatherapist. We've got people doing all kinds of interesting things here. I do want to acknowledge you for being here today because it takes courage and commitment to carve time out of your busy life to focus on getting started creating a business. And I'd love to give y'all a double high five. So if your camera's off, if you want to pop it back on, we'll all give each other a big double high five. Are you ready? There you go. I'm gonna pivot here just a minute and kind of take you through the journey that I went on to become the coach that I am. And it's going to be a little bit vulnerable here with you. So even though I've written a book and developed a coaching course to help women design the life they want to live and make a living from it, there was a time when I struggled terribly with finding my purpose. I was homeschooling the last 3 of my 5 children and wanted desperately to make enough money so that my husband didn't have to drive a truck and be gone all the time. You see, we'd pretty much lost everything during the crash of 2008, our home, 2 rental houses, and the truck my husband was using to lease on to a company as an owner-operator. We were suffering from some pretty staggering medical bills as a result of medical issues 2 of my kids had also. So because of that, we ended up moving into this little teeny house that we could barely afford with the income my husband was now making because he was hauling cars for a much smaller locally owned company. he was still gone all the time, but he was making about a quarter of the money he made as a trainer and owner operator. I was basically raising 3 kids by myself. We were so broke, let me tell you. There were nights when I would wake up in a cold sweat, heart pounding, unable to catch my breath, fearful of what was going to happen next and how we were going to make ends meet. It got so bad, I was thinking about ending it all. I felt worthless and hopeless. Eventually, I was faced with a choice: get help, figure it out, or just end it all. Continuing this situation just wasn't an option for me. But I did get help. I found that as I stepped out in faith, just taking the next logical step, the universe or God kept putting the next step right in front of me. The right person, course, coach, or book would be right there. And as I stepped out, unsure of how solid the ground was beneath my feet, the universe would come along and lift me up and make the ground solid. All I needed to do was to just keep reaching out, taking the next logical step forward. It was scary at times because honestly, there were times I'd spend money, a lot of money, and I didn't know if I'd really benefit from what I'd spent that money on. But every time I'd invest in myself, I'd grow. Today, my husband is home. My kids are all launched and are amazing human beings, contributing to make the world a better place. And I make a comfortable living doing what I'm passionate about, which is helping busy moms and dads who are struggling to find their purpose, making a living and a difference, pursuing their passion. Today, you're going to learn some strategies for getting your 5-figure side gig off the ground. You'll discover how to carve out 5 hours a week without sacrificing your family time or obligations. You'll learn the magic of the 5 things. You'll discover the hidden truth about starting online shops and how what you don't know could cost you thousands. And we'll reveal how you can make $100 quickly without a website or bugging your family and friends. As you can imagine, I can't teach you everything I know about creating a business in the short time we have together. So for those of you who are really dedicated to making an income doing what you love, I'll share more about how we can continue to work together at the end. Does that sound good? Awesome. So raise your hand if you're sometimes a perfectionist. Okay, Lorraine, I see you and Amy raising your hands there too. So trying to build a business by doing things perfectly can be maddening because we can be so mean to ourselves when we mess up and we get discouraged and often give up. So that's why when you make a mistake, instead of saying things like, I'm so stupid, let's try something very different. Let's try, I'm so sexy. And it's fun to say. So right now, I want you to imagine that you just made a mistake. So go ahead and unmute yourselves and let's say this together because it's fun. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
I'm
So
so
sexy.
All right. I'm going to do everything I can to make this a powerful, seamless event. But if I make a mistake, which might happen, feel free to remind me of just how sexy I am. Okay. Now imagine that you're on a ship headed from Los Angeles to Hawaii. But let's say that it shifts its direction by 1 degree over the course of the entire ocean. This 1 degree shift could mean that the ship ends up someplace totally different. The same thing goes with this workshop today. One insight can put you on a slightly different course that 1 month or 3 months from now, or even a year from now, could result in you moving closer to getting that 5 figures part-time. So I would invite you to listen to that 1 degree shift that you can learn today and implement right away. I believe that every single person here can create a 5-figure side gig. And in order to do this, you'll need to believe in yourself. So to help you really cement that feeling in, I'm going to invite you to affirm the core message for this workshop, which is, I can do this. So one more time, let's open up the microphones and we'll all say this together. You ready? I
can
do
do
this.
this.
Let's do that one more time. Lots of enthusiasm and really loud. I think if you're louder, the universe hears it and makes it happen. So I can do this. Yeah, that's it. I'd love for you to write in the chat, when it comes to creating a side gig, where are you now and where would you like to be a year from now? I love the I can do this in all caps in the chat. That's great. This is definitely an interactive workshop. Just getting started. Developing our YouTube channel. Got a side gig, but wants to make it mega profitable in a year. Those are all great places to be right now. And you should get a couple little tidbits out of this workshop that might help you move you in that 1 degree shift that could help you. So many of you might think you don't have time to start a side business because you don't even know where to start or how to find the time to make a plan. And I'd imagine you'd want to know exactly what to do to carve out time to know how to start a side gig and where to start. So that's why I'm going to show you how to find time, even if you don't think you have any. When I first started, I was busy. I was homeschooling 3 kids and managing a homestead and trying to figure out how to create a side gig in my almost non-existent time. And I stumbled across this strategy. It helped me so much to be able to get a lot more done in less time. And I found that as my great, add a few more greats after that, Uncle Benjamin Franklin said, for every minute spent in organizing, an hour is earned. And yes, he really is my great uncle. The biggest myth is that in order to get a lot done, you need a lot of time. Well, that was the old model of thinking. Today, things get done much faster and more effectively and quicker than ever before. We can all find 15-minute chunks of time in our day, right? Okay. So we're going to use a timer and plan when those 15 minutes will happen. If you can find 3 times during your day, 5 days a week, to focus on building your business, that's almost 5 hours a week. The secret is that during those 15 minutes, you need to know what to focus on and to do specific things that will forward your momentum and actually build that business. With a limited amount of time, you need to know exactly what you need to be doing in each session. Having a plan and knowing what you need to do is crucial to creating a successful side gig to be able to make progress in only 30 to 45 minutes a day. A person who has accomplished a lot of big projects and built businesses from the ground up, I've created a coaching program that will have you knowing what to do specifically in those 15 minutes blocks each time you sit down. How does that sound? Perfect. You may be asking yourself at this point, how do I find the things to focus on during my 15-minute sections? Well, that's where the magic of the 5 things comes in. So has this ever happened to you? You sit down to work, but you spend the whole time either organizing your work area or focused on trying to figure out what you should be doing. Yeah, happens to me too. I think you would agree that without a plan, we're destined to fail. That's why the magic of the 5 things works so well. It's a simple form of a plan, and all that's required is a calendar and a notepad, but mostly a calendar. You can use your phone calendar, your whiteboard calendar, or your paper calendar. Any calendar where you can write down your 5 most important tasks you need to accomplish each day to move your business forward. We'll be talking a bit more about this in a few minutes. The one thing you must include on the 5 things list in order to ensure your success: But for now, you just need to know that if you have two 15-minute sections of time set aside, then you need to have 2 tasks per section. It might just be one bigger task broken down into 2 smaller tasks that are needed to finish the one larger task, or you could use all 4 sections to complete one overarching task that you need to get done. The magic comes into the 5 things plan in the 5th thing that goes on your list each day. At the end of your last 15 minutes, you need to take a couple of minutes to write down the 4 things you want to complete tomorrow or your next work block. And then the 5th thing you need is to be able to do is the 5th thing that you need to write down is the first thing you need to focus on the next day. Does this make sense to you? If it makes sense to you, can you give me a thumbs up or type got it in the chat? Okay. I learned this from a friend of mine. The guy gets so much done in a day, but he always seems to be having a good time, and he's got lots of time for his family, and they're all into sports and everything. But I think the biggest mistake people make is when it comes to writing down the 5 things, they include busy tasks and work that not directly involved in forwarding their business. So they might sit down and start, but get distracted by emails or Facebook or TikTok, or your phone rings or something else pops up. So when you start that clock running for your 15 minutes, you need to be laser focused on completing the 2 tasks that you set out to finish. Shut everything else down and put your phone on vibrate or even silent. For 15 minutes, the world can leave you alone. Having a cohesive business plan makes creating your 5 things list a breeze, as you'll know exactly what you need to be doing each step of the way. And honestly, it's pretty difficult to start a side business when you also have to spend your 5 hours doing research. Tony Robbins shared something the other day that I thought I'd share with you. It expands on something I mentioned just a minute ago. He said that if you want results, you need to take massive action right away while you're still excited about the task. And then you need to do something that commits you to taking further action. That's why I suggest that you save the 5th thing on your list for the next day. It should be the thing that commits you to taking further action and actually sitting down and doing the work. Many of you may have experienced the pitfalls of starting an online shop to sell your crafts, hoping that you would end up making millions. Or maybe you just wanted enough to support your craft habit. And I would imagine you wanted, dare I say, expected it would be simple and profitable. Were you surprised when you found out that you were paying for the privilege of making and selling your items? Online shops like Etsy, Shopify, and Amazon are in business to suck money out of your wallet with their widgets and advertising. So unless you know exactly what you're doing and if there's a market for that thing, or that you can create a market for it, you're going to invest a lot of money and energy into a losing proposition. What I'm going to suggest instead is that you sell your whatevers on a place like Facebook Marketplace or Google Marketplace. Did you even know Google has a marketplace? They do. What I suggest as a strategy for selling crafts and low cost to produce items is that you either create a Blogspot blog and use a payment service like Venmo or PayPal to accept payments and sell from that platform, or you just post your items on Facebook Marketplace. You can also find local papers' classified sections to post your items for sale. I've worked with many people who've had successful Etsy shops, and I know exactly what it takes to turn a profit over there. The secret is in knowing your numbers and having a plan and understanding the marketplace. Knowing the answers to the question, will people actually spend money on what I want to sell? There is a way to figure all this out. However, it's way too complicated to go into in this short workshop. Good news though, I'm going to share with you a strategy that you can use to test out the Facebook Marketplace. and show you how to make $100 quickly without actually having to have a shop. So you might think this is an odd strategy at first blush, but when I tell you what it is, and many of you may have actually already done this a time or two when you needed to get rid of something. The strategy involves finding things you no longer use or need around your house or in your garage, or things that you'd like to make that are valuable things you found at yard sales or thrift stores, and list them on Facebook Marketplace. You will find to You'll also want to find your local to you for sale group boards that are in your area on Facebook. They're a gold mine for selling things. Post your items one at a time on these boards and tag your friends or people that you know might be interested in what you have to sell. Not that you expect them to buy your stuff, but they might have friends that need what you're selling. But make sure you answer any DMs that happen for your listing. You only need to sell 4 $25 items to make $100. And if your items are larger, you might want to sell locally. Okay, this is a sexy moment. Not sure how my whiteboard popped up. It did. So if you're selling larger items, you're going to want to sell those locally so that you don't have to pay for shipping. And you can have them meet you like under the Stokes Market sign. That's our local agreed upon place. It's our local store. And we meet up there and we make the transfer, and we either use cash or Venmo. And it's just someplace that's central to everybody that's doing the transaction. Around Christmas, there's a local family that loves to make tamales. So who doesn't love Christmas tamales, right? They post on the local boards when we'll be making them, and then they take orders for what type you want and how many you want. And on the day they're made, we all go over to their house, which I don't recommend for safety reasons, but I live in this little teeny town and everybody knows somebody that you know. So it works for us, but we collect our tamales and give them the money. Person-to-person transactions are so fun. You make new friends, you're contributing to reshaping the world economy by making local transactions that create a kinder, friendlier, and more sustainable world for us all. And really, that's what it's all about. Sharing your unique gifts and skills with others and letting them share their unique gifts with you. When I first started out, I was struggling to find a way to make some extra money around my many obligations. I thought I was going to be stuck with being broke forever and that I would never get my husband home. So I think it might be helpful to share about one of my clients. Her name is Dawn, who was also raising a child and whose husband was also a truck driver. When Dawn came to me, she was struggling with finding her purpose. She was skeptical about working with me because she didn't have any idea where to start or what to do, and she didn't have a lot of time. But she decided to take advantage of my coaching because getting focused and a plan was really important to her. Recently, Dawn shared how she was able to write her first novella, and she's now building a life coaching practice. It's stories like these that give me so much passion for this work. But even though I have decades of experience, I still feel a little nervous and a bit vulnerable about inviting you to continue this journey with me. But I'm also passionate about the work that I'm doing, and I'm committed to helping you create a 5-figure side gig that you can work around your family. That I'm not going to let my personal fears stop me from sharing my gifts with you. So with that in mind, would it be okay if I share about how we can continue to work together? Okay, awesome. Today, I've shared some powerful strategies to move you closer to finding time to create your business and how to actually start a business on a shoestring. But to get all the way there, it's going to take more than an hour workshop. Unfortunately, creating a plan and implementing it to actually build your business is probably not going to happen by itself. 6 months from now, I don't want you to still be wondering how to get started. And 1 year from now, I don't want you wondering how much different your life would be now if you'd just gotten started. I want you to share your gifts with the world so that you can feel significant and your life can be lived to the fullest because you're doing the work you were meant to be doing and being compensated well for it. This is for you if it's important to you to start making money in the next 3 months. If that's not important to you, then there's no need to consider moving forward with this. In one private session together, we'll explore where you're at right now when it comes to creating a business, pursuing your passion, and where you want to be financially in the next 3 to 12 months. And then I'll make some personalized recommendations to support you to move forward immediately. I call this coaching a passion to profit breakthrough session. We'll meet on Zoom, and my schedule is pretty booked, so I highly recommend you secure a success. Man, I highly recommend securing your session time today. Some of my colleagues charge as much as $1,000 an hour for this type of work. This might sound like a big investment, but there's a huge cost to still not doing what you were created to do. 1 year from now, if this hasn't changed, it could cost you tens of thousands of dollars because you haven't gotten the exact details to create a plan that works for you doing what you want to do. My rates are normally $500 per session. However, because my intention is to make it affordable for you to get a plan together to create your business, and I feel so passionately about this work, I'm going to do something that's really kind of crazy. If creating a business around what you're passionate about is really important to you, I want to match your commitment by gifting you a Passion to Profit private coaching session, which means that I'm gifting you a full 30 to 60 minutes totally free. My only request is that if you get a lot out of the session, that you share my work with others who might benefit from it. During this session, my intention will be to do everything I can to support you to move closer to building a business that brings you fulfillment and contributes to the You World Order, where you're contributing to the change you want to see in the world. Toward the end of our time together, if it seems like I can support you further, I may invite you to join my Ignite Passion to Profit coaching program, if it seems like it's a good fit for you. But there's no pressure to sign up, and mainly my intention for our time together is just to serve you. I have about 5 spots on my schedule next week. If this is resonating with you, I'd invite you to grab one of those spots as quickly as possible. And Jenny will be popping that link in the chat. For those of you who will be joining me to move closer to getting your 5-figure side hustle up and running, it's going to be my honor to connect and support you much more deeply. And most people never get really present to how important it is to them to create a 5-figure side gig that could become a full-blown business and support your whole family. Because of that, they often go through the motions trying to make money, but with half-hearted commitment. That's why so many people never get to make money doing what they're passionate about and take that disappointment with them to the grave. Because they're half in, half out, lukewarm. Maybe someday I'll get started. When they fail, which they almost inevitably do, and it's not that there was something wrong with them, it was just their half-hearted, maybe someday energy that had them fail. So that's why strategy 5 is the most important strategy, which is the power of commitment. Every single one of my clients who built a part-time business were very committed. It didn't happen by accident. It wasn't luck. It was their bold, unwavering, unstoppable commitment. But we're all human, and we all struggle to fully commit ourselves to what's most important to us. Would it be okay if I shared with you about a time in my life where I was scared to commit to getting this coaching practice up and running? A while back, I was faced with a decision to commit to getting help, finding clients, or to keep going the way I was going. I knew I needed help, but I didn't feel like I had the money. I didn't feel like I had the time. I was afraid it wouldn't work for me. I was scared to believe in myself. And underneath it all, I wondered if I was worth it. But I did commit. I committed to getting the support I needed to break through to the other side. And it wasn't cheap, let me tell you. And I had to find the time, and I had to believe in myself, and I had to put myself first for once. But it was worth it because I would not be where I am today without the support I invested in. So that's why I have this question for you. On a scale of 1 to 10, how important is it for you to get a 5-figure side business up and going? And if you check in with yourself and come to the conclusion that your commitment level is getting started is 6, 7 or lower, I'd ask you to ask yourself this question. Is your commitment level on the lower side because you don't think it's possible for you to actually build a business? Or is making money just not that important to you right now? If making money is not that important to you right now, not a problem. I would recommend not signing up for the Passion to Profit Breakthrough session with me, because I found that it's nearly impossible to build a successful business if it's not really like a huge priority in your life. Instead, just focus your attention on strengthening other areas of your life that bring you pleasure. But if it is important for you to build a business doing what you're passionate about, and you just don't believe it's possible for you, then I would invite you to borrow my confidence in you until you find your own confidence. And I would be happy to work with you on this. If your commitment level is an 8 or higher, you can trust that your commitment will drive you to build a successful business to 5 figures and beyond. But it's not going to happen by accident. So I would invite you to sign up for the Passion to Profit Breakthrough session with me so that I can support you to take some powerful steps to get you started creating that 5-figure side gig, pursuing your passion. And if you're not sure how committed you are, I invite you to get sure as you can before you leave. I'm not actually attached to whether you continue to work with me or not. What I care about is that you boldly commit to something. Because maybes attract maybe results. And this is your life. It's not a dress rehearsal. I want you to live an amazing life, pursuing your passion while helping others and getting compensated for your expertise. I want to thank you so much for your attention and hope this has been valuable for you. We'll drop the link to book a session with me in the chat. And I can't wait to continue this journey with you for those of you who are ready to go to the next level. That's it. Can I answer questions for you?
Lorraine had a question. I dropped it in the chat for you.
Okay.
Can you sell printables and handmade cards on Marketplace?
Yes. That was
Cool.
an easy answer.
Cool, because that's pretty much what I would be wanting to do if I wanted to do something in the marketplace, is some sort of graphic design and or handmade cards, since I paint every day. Okay, I'm gonna mute that because I don't know what the dog is gonna do.
Okay. Well, I'd like to thank you all for coming to this workshop, and I look forward to working with you in the future. Take care, all.